Happy Friday. I'm Jennifer from the Somerset County Family Community Health Science Department, and we're here in the kitchen going to prepare 2 mocktails that you and your family can enjoy this weekend. And I'm creating them in honor of Father's Day. But they are going to be a go-to drink all summer when you have picnics, brunches. And you can see I have a great variety of fresh produce that we're going to incorporate. So the 2 mocktails that we're going to make today, the first one is going to be a citrus seltzer, and the second one is going to be a virgin Bloody Mary. So let's start with the seltzer. So to make this citrus, we're going to use all the citrus fruits. I have a grapefruit, I have an orange, a lemon, and a clementine. So we're just going to cut one open, and we're just going to squeeze the juice out of it. I'm going to use this little nifty juice peeler. And after we juice this all, we are going to strain it through a strainer just so that we get out any pulps that might be in there. Now, I just love the smell of citrus. I mean, not only is citrus great because it's packed with vitamin C, fiber, tons of vitamins and minerals, but it also wakes you up. So it's just so fresh and awakening when you smell the peels, when you drink a drink infused with citrus. So I love these clementines. We think of oranges often, but clementines are great to have for a snack. Okay, so look at that. Look for that little clementine. Look at all the juice that we got. So I have a pitcher here, and I'm just gonna put the strainer over it. And you can see why we did that. You can see all the pulp that's in there. So you definitely don't want to skip this step. Okay, we'll put that to the side, and let's do a lemon. Now, I've already prepared a simple syrup as well. And this is great because it will catch the pips. I have that cooling here. I'm using an agave syrup, a light agave nectar. Equal amounts. I use 1/4 cup and 1/4 cup of water. I simmered it on low heat in a stovetop, mixed it until it was all melted together. If you don't have agave nectar, you can certainly use sugar. If you want to eliminate that altogether, you can skip that step. But I really like using the agave nectar. It has a really nice flavor to it, gives it a little sweetness. And if you're looking at glycemic index, it's a little bit lower than actual table sugar. Okay, there's our lemon juice. See, 1 pit got through, so that's why we do want to strain it. Oh, this is going to be so refreshing, especially here in New Jersey. We have like a 90+ degree day. So all the coworkers here are going to love this. Now we have our orange. So if you guys like drinks with citrus and you have a favorite drink, pop it in the comments and let us know what you do with your citrus. There is a recipe, if you go back in our videos, I made a clementine bread. That was really delicious. And again, something that we don't think about in using those clementines. We use the zest and the juice of the clementine and made kind of a pound cake. So you can find that in our video search. And I will post the recipes in our comments below of both drinks. Okay, we have our orange juice. And our last fruit we're gonna add is our grapefruit. This is a big one. I don't know if it will, we'll see if it works on our juicer. All right, just love a pink grapefruit, right? All right, that's working. Gives it that nice bite. Okay, and we'll just add a little bit of that grapefruit. I'll just do half. Okay, look at all of that goodness. And you see how much pulp we came out of here. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is add the simple syrup, let that cool. And I have seltzer, you can use sparkling water. And we'll add that to our pitcher. How refreshing does that look? Okay. Then you just get a glass. Actually, let me get a spoon. Just want to give that a quick stir. The foam came on here just because I poured that pretty quickly. That'll go away. All right, let's try this. Oh, that's so refreshing. That's like just drinking this produce. I love it. I get the hint of, we even only use a little bit of the grapefruit. I got the grapefruit, I got the lemon, the orange. I can cut up some clementine slices and add them in for garnish. So this is our first drink, our citrus seltzer. I'm gonna put this to the side. Okay, so now for our second beverage, we're gonna make a Virgin Bloody Mary from scratch, okay? You can go to the grocery store and you can buy a mix, but it's more fun to use the fresh produce that you have. So I have a food processor here, and I've already washed 1.5 celery stalks. I am making half the version in the recipe that I'll put in the comments. It will be the full recipe, so you can make a large pitcher. So I'm just gonna loosely chop up 1.5 celery, and you want to include the leaves, okay? Especially if you're making smoothies or putting anything in a blender, use the celery leaves. They have such great flavor. So we're adding the celery in there, and I have just the tiniest bit of shallots chopped up. It's about a teaspoon of shallots. I'm gonna give this a stir. Okay, so now for our ingredients. We are going to add 1 teaspoon of horseradish. Okay, and again, you can adjust this based on how spicy you like your Virgin Bloody Marys. I'm gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. Just a 1/2 teaspoon of regular salt. I personally am adding a dash of pepper. Okay, dash of Worcestershire sauce. And I grabbed this from home. My husband said, "Where is the hot sauce?" I said, "I brought it to work." So I'm gonna do about 6 dashes of hot sauce. Again, you can adjust. Okay, so let's give this another good stir together. Okay, because this might be slightly chunky, you can get your spatula, just scrape down the edges, and we want to add a little liquid, so we're going to add the juice of a lime. You can certainly squeeze in the zest if you'd like. Now, garnishing your Bloody Marys is a lot of fun. You can use, of course, celery, pickles, stuffed olives, shrimp cocktail, bacon, right? If you're using that for a treat, you can kind of set up like a little bar like you do a taco bar. You can have a toppings bar. But I love tomato juice. It really is good for you. Okay, so we added that. I'm gonna let this go on high. Now I have my tomato juice. What I'm gonna do to add more liquid to this, to really blend all those choppy bits, is add 2 cups of tomato sauce. Just so you can see it. Okay. That smells delicious. So that's really my tip, because I did adapt this from a recipe from Ina Gardner, and I found that when I added about 2 cups of the tomato juice to the vegetables, it really chopped it and blended it better than adding the tomato juice separately in the pitcher. So this one actually came out good. When I tested it out yesterday, it had too many bits. So I have a pitcher. going to carefully pour it into a pitcher. You do have a little bit of the bits of the celery leaves, and that's okay. Then people know that you made this fresh. Okay, I'm going to pour this into a glass. And I don't have all those fancy fixings, but I did save a small piece of celery with those leaves for garnish. And you can get like a skewer stick and just layer it with pickles and radishes and olives and shrimp. So cheers, whether you enjoy the tomato or you're more of a citrus. I want to wish my father, my husband, and all the fathers watching a very happy Father's Day weekend. Cheers.